Good morning, honored guests, fellow veterans, and ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mike Masterson, Senior Master Sergeant, United States Air Force retired, and it is an honor and privilege to be your Master of Ceremonies today for today's Welcome Home ceremony for the Wall That Heals here at Worcester County Veterans Memorial. Now I'd like to begin by introducing some special guests who are joining us today. Representing Andy Harris, Bill Reddish, Zach Tyndall, Mayor of Berlin, Maryland, Tammy Simpson, Mayor of Snow Hill, Barry Dees, Mayor, Crisfield, Matt Crisafulli, Sheriff, Worcester County, Police Chief David Delfonso of Crisfield, Chip Bertino, President, Worcester County Commissioners, Lionel Frederick, Town Commission President, Princess Anne, Larry Perrone, President, Ocean Pines Association, Dr. Colette Horn, Vice President, Ocean Pines Association, Cammie Rogers, Board Member, Ocean Pines Association, Frank Daly, Board Member, Ocean Pines Association, and Gold Star family, Joe Simpos. Please stand for the invocation offered by Chaplain and past Southeastern Shore District Commander, William Sarge Garlitz.
Good morning. I just want to give you a heads up here. I'm not giving my gloves to anybody. Uncover. Prayers for the safe arrival of the wall that heals were answered. We thank you, Lord, and are asking you this morning to continue answering our prayers for this Wall That Heals program. The Vietnam veterans are special, and after all of these years are appreciated by the Worcester County Veterans Memorial and the United States of America. The veterans of the era are still serving and are true, dedicated, and a very patriotic veteran. Our troops, our veterans, their families, and the volunteers make it all work. Thank you. Amen.
Please remain standing as a presentation of colors is performed by a joint color guard from the Regional American Legions and VFW Post. Color guard, present the colors.
Detail. Halt. Left face. Reason. Arms.
U.S. Army Delta PSYOPs and Vietnam veteran Mike Mason will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Mike?
Pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Delmarva Chorus will now sing our national anthem. Color guard, retire the colors.
Ready? Go! Right, face, forward, march. Detail, right, hey, forward, march.
Please be seated. Now I'd like to introduce Marie Gilmore, President of the Worcester County Veterans Memorial Foundation.
Good morning, everybody. What a beautiful day. Even if it was raining on us, it would be a beautiful day. We are so blessed. We are so happy to have the wall that heals in Worcester County, Maryland. We have been waiting a very long time. A lot of planning goes into bringing an event like this to our community, but every hour of planning has been time very well spent. Over the last several months, I have spoken to so many Vietnam veterans who have returned from war, and it means so much to all of them to be able to honor their comrades that they left that could not come home to their families. So we are so happy and so grateful to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund for giving us this opportunity to host the wall in our community and honor all of the Vietnam veterans from the Eastern Shore of Maryland, Virginia, and Delaware. Tomorrow night is a very special candlelight ceremony, originally planned to be on Saturday night, but we don't think the weather will cooperate on Saturday. So we made a very quick decision yesterday and had to change our ceremony to tomorrow evening. And at that ceremony, which I hope that you'll all be able to come back to, we will be honoring the names and reading the names of all of those brave soldiers from the Eastern Shore of Maryland, Virginia, and Delaware. And while the names are being read, there will be a candlelight procession along the wall behind me. It is a very, very moving experience to see that, and I hope that you can all join us again tomorrow night. But for now, I thank you all for coming in spite of how cold and windy it is out here today. There's a warmth in our hearts and a gratitude for being able to honor Vietnam veterans and finally saying, welcome home.
Now I'd like to introduce General Manager, Ocean Pines Association, John Viola. John?
Thank you. On behalf of Ocean Pines, I'd like to welcome this historic Wall That Heals exhibit to our community, and also to welcome all of our veterans who are here today and who plan to visit over the next few days. It's an honor for us to have the Wall That Heals in Ocean Pines. Thank you to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund for selecting Ocean Pines as a host site. Thank you to Worcester County Veterans Memorial Foundation for planning and organizing this visit. And thank you especially to all our veterans and their families, including and especially those who are no longer with us. We hope everyone will enjoy the exhibit and that everyone will continue to support our veterans and our Worcester County Veterans Memorial Foundation. Thank you.
Now I'd like to introduce State Senator Mary Beth Carozza.
Look at this. The Wall That Heals. I truly am humbled to be part of this welcome home ceremony with the Wall That Heals here on the grounds of this Worcester County Veterans Memorial, a sacred and special place honoring our veterans. When Marie Gilmore, our leader as president of the Worcester County Western Veterans Memorial, first told me months and months ago about the wall coming here, I did not initially fully appreciate the historic and emotional significance of the wall being here on these grounds. Now, after being with the greeters on Tuesday, when the Wall That Heals rolled in escorted by law enforcement and hundreds of bikers from all local organizations, waiting with volunteers waving the American flag. And here we are now. I think we realize, looking at this wall, the impact, the lasting impact that this wall, the wall that heals, will have on our shore community and the state of Maryland. As I prepared to be with you today on this historic occasion, I reflected on the most appropriate title of this exhibit, The Wall That Heals, thinking about the hostile reaction that many of our Vietnam veterans experienced and some of the health conditions our Vietnam veterans continue to live with, and with so many of us here who have loved ones who served in the Vietnam War, those who are here today, we know that they endured pain, including my own Uncle Eddie, who's a Vietnam veteran who's joined us today. And so I think we should focus on that key word of healing. And healing words from the scripture also bring comfort. Psalm 55:18. There are many who fight me, but the Lord will save my soul in peace from those who war against me. Jeremiah 30:17. I will restore health to you and your wounds I will heal, declares the Lord. We as a community have been blessed with this Wall That Heals exhibit here on these grounds of the Worcester County Veterans Memorial. We will be forever grateful to the Worcester County Veterans Memorial Foundation and all those involved in providing this unique healing experience. So let us truly take it all in. Today, Friday night, the Candlelight Ceremony, and the whole weekend that we have this wall with us. And in closing, I just want to say how humbled I am to join you in honoring our Vietnam veterans. Thank you.
Now I'd like to introduce U.S. Army veteran, recipient of the Bronze Star for operations during Desert Storm, State Senator Doug Peters, Chairman of the Senate Veterans Caucus.
Good morning, everybody. 11 a.m. is a sacred time for the veterans. Veterans Day is celebrated on the 11th hour of the 11th day in the 11th month. And in a few weeks from now, Memorial Day will be celebrated starting at 11 a.m. So I want to really thank the veteran service organizations who kicked this off at 11 o'clock, which is our sacred hour. Today's about remembering what we're here for today. It's our duty to remember the sacrifice of those etched in this wall and those Vietnam veterans who served alongside of them who are here with us today. It's our duty to remember the POWs and MIAs that never returned home, of the unknown soldiers and sailors whose acts of valor will never be recorded, but we remember, of the combat vets who suffer daily from post-traumatic stress disorder. So how do we honor their memory? By fighting to accelerate VA claims, by fully funding veterans homes like Charlotte Hall, maintaining veterans memorials like this and other cemeteries that we have, and providing final honors for many of our veterans in need. In 2007, the Worcester County Veterans Memorial Foundation created a program to bring our fifth graders here to remember what happened, not just in Vietnam, but all the wars. That's how we honor our veterans. we take action. I want to thank Senator Mary Beth Carozza, who serves with me on the Veterans Caucus. We've passed numerous veterans bills together and budget items. I also want to thank Ocean Pines, and I have to give a shout out to my mayor, Mayor Bowie, who is now an Ocean Pines resident, longest serving mayor in Bowie, 101st Airborne, American Legion. So you're getting all the Bowie residents to come here as well as my son just moved here, so I'll be coming up here quite a bit. But I'd also like to thank all those who support veterans. A lot of people come up and say, well, I'm not a veteran. That's okay. There's a lot of people who support our cause, who fight for us, and I thank them for all they've done. And to all the veterans here, I salute you.
And if Miss Marie Gilmore would please join us to receive a Senate proclamation.
No, you go ahead.
This is just so special to be able to present this to Marie because of everything that she did to bring this historic moment to us today. So this is an official Senate resolution citation, and it's offered to the Worcester County Veterans Memorial Foundation in recognition of being selected by the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund to host the Wall That Heals exhibit in the state of Maryland. And on behalf of the Senate Veterans Caucus with our chair, Senator Doug Peters, we're grateful for the Worcester County Veterans Memorial Foundation's leadership in hosting this display, which honors 3 million Americans who served during the Vietnam War and the 58,279 men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice in Vietnam. And this is presented to Marie Gilmore.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Thank you, Senator Peters. I will humbly accept this award on behalf of the team and the volunteers, and especially the Board of Directors of the Worcester County Veterans Memorial Foundation. This is not a one-person operation. Thank you so much.
And now, a wreath being presented today by Marie Gilmore. Don't go too far, Marie. And the board of the Worcester County Veterans Memorial to honor our Vietnam veterans and their families. Would the Worcester County Memorial board members please come forward? Representing Governor Hogan, we are honored to have Vietnam veteran, Brigadier General Warner Sumpter, U.S. Army retired, Chairman of the Maryland Veterans Home Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, General Sumpter.
Good afternoon. Were we after 12 yet? Not yet. Good morning. 2,709,918 Americans served in Vietnam. 58,148 died or are on the wall as MIA. 75,000 were severely wounded. 23,214 are 100% disabled. I am so proud to be with you today and so privileged to represent Governor Hogan and Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford. Governor Hogan is very disappointed that he could not be here today with you, but he has continually supported veterans, their needs during his tenure, from proclaiming March 30th of each year as Vietnam Veterans Welcome Home Day to supporting veterans' needs, and especially those veterans who are struggling. But I must also commend all those here who have worked so hard with the planning and bringing the wall that heals to Ocean Pines. Thank you for your efforts on behalf of all veterans, but particularly Vietnam veterans. So what are you doing today with the wall that heals? What you are doing is so admirable and gracious with honoring our Vietnam veterans, because it is never too late to honor those who gave their last full measure, or to say to the surviving veterans who are here today, thank you and welcome home. So to my fellow brother and sister Vietnam veterans, welcome home. And with that, if I could ask the Senator Mary Beth Carozza and the delegate to join me for the presentation to Ms. Gilmore of the governor's citation. The citation reads, the state of Maryland, Governor of the State of Maryland, to the Worcester County Veterans Memorial Foundation celebrates the wall that heals. Greetings. Be it known that on behalf of the citizens of this state, in recognition of a grateful tribute to commend the commitment of the Worcester County Veterans Memorial Foundation for its efforts to encourage the public to view and experience the legacy of the wall that heals, a traveling replica of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial that provides an opportunity to honor and remember all those who served and sacrificed in the Vietnam War, and helps increase awareness of the continuing impact of the Vietnam War on our country. We are pleased to confer upon you this day this governor's citation given under the hand and seal of the great state of Maryland on the 22nd of April, 2021, Governor Lawrence Hogan and Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford.
Thank you, General. Thank you, General. I humbly accept on behalf of the entire foundation. Thank you.
Our guest speaker today, the Vietnam veteran, Reggie Mason. Reggie Mason was born in Pocomoke City, Maryland, son of the late Harold and Marguerite Mason. He's the youngest of 5 children. He graduated from Pocomoke High School in 1965, and that same year enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. After boot camp, Reggie was sent to Vietnam and spent the next 20 months in country at Da Nang, Phu Bai, and during his second tour, Corporal Mason joined the 1st Battalion, 9th Marines, 3rd Marine Division, an infantry unit nicknamed the Walking Dead. He served in the H&S Field Division, Casualty Unit. He was at the Siege of Con Thien, Dong Hai, Camp Evans, and had a front row seat during the 77-day siege at Khe Sanh and during the Tet Offensive. In 1969, with the rank of sergeant, he received an honorable discharge. In 1984, Reggie was appointed Chief Deputy of the Worcester County Sheriff's Department, and he was elected sheriff in 2010 and served until his retirement on December 3rd, 2018. Ladies and gentlemen, U.S. Marine and Sheriff Reggie Mason.
Thank you all. Let me get that. I changed my glasses here. I hope everyone can hear me. Today, we honored the names on this wall. 58,279 that died in the Vietnam War. The youngest to die was 15-year-old Marine Private Dan Bullock. The oldest, Navy Petty Officer Keena Taylor, age 62. Among this group is 8 nurses. What these families went through, seeing a military vehicle pull in their yard, a knock on the door, being told their loved one has died in the war. Some families received telegrams. Many of us Vietnam veterans here today look at this wall and wonder, why them and not me? Only God knows. What I saw, and many here today, if not for our field medics, our helicopters coming in and getting our wounded to the doctors and nurses at our hospitals, there would be thousands of names added to this wall. Arriving in Vietnam in 1966 at Da Nang, what I saw was a very beautiful country. Mountains, villages, rice paddies, jungles, and very soon, death. What was the Vietnam War really like? Those of us that return home have our stories to tell. No doubt, this wall, many, many stories could be told. I cannot speak for all Vietnam veterans, but what I saw and did will always be with me and never go away. Some of you went through so much, much more. In this war, you got very little sleep. Your feet ached. Your back hurt from carrying heavy packs. Radios, ammo, rations, mortars, M60 machine guns, 2 canteens of water. Monsoon season, you were soaking wet. No bath for 70 days or more. You think of loved ones at home. Will I return home? Very little to eat. Shortage of drinking water. Leeches, rats, mosquitoes, snakes, and sickness. Some receiving Dear John letters from home. Losing your friends. Hearing and see the wounded and those dying, crying out for their mother or a wife. What will happen tonight? Ground attack by the NVA? Tomorrow, expect rockets, mortars, and heavy artillery to hit. There's drugs if you want them. What keeps you motivated? Your buddies in your unit. Letters and packages from home. Dreaming of your favorite food, a cheeseburger, French fry, and a chocolate milkshake. Looking forward and counting the days to return home to family and friends. Hoping and praying for your buddies to return home.
and getting rest and plenty of sleep in my good old bed and going to my favorite bar for an ice cold beer. In my first 13 months assigned to the G3 section, I had many duties. Having my military driver's license, I was assigned driver and bodyguard for Colonel Hammerbeck and Lieutenant Colonel Alexandra, two of the greatest men I ever met in the military. We made many trips to a MACV compound for meetings in Way City. Visiting Way City, it was so beautiful on the Perfume River. You could go anywhere, no problems at all. Not so in 1968 when the NVA took the city. After many days of fighting with heavy bombing and troop assaults, the NVA were driven out. My 13 months was up and I would return home for 30 days. Party time with friends every night. I told my mother I was returning to Vietnam a few days before I left. It was hard to leave. She gave me a hug and kiss and would write and pray for me every day. She never missed a day in 20 months. One time, mail was never on time. One day I got 24 letters from home. Captain Miller, I beat him out, he had 23. Returning to Vietnam in 1967 at Don Ha, the 1st Battalion, 9th Marines, the Walking Dead, 3rd Marine Division. Checking in, Staff Sergeant Parav S1. Bear with me. I would be in H&S Company, Field Casualty Unit. My assignment, first to protect our field medics. Take a set of dog tags off the wounded. Those that died, take their dog tags and personal belongings. Load the wounded on the helicopters. Cover those died with a poncho to be flown out later. I carried more bandages than ammo. At Con 10 at the DMZ, we had many casualties. Our next stop would be Camp Evans. Before dark, going out hundreds of yards on 2-man listening posts, returning at daybreak. Each time I got this assignment, I did not think I would return. A few did not. I had the opportunity to fire 81 mortars on firing missions. On January 21st, 1968, the 26th Marine Regiment came under a heavy attack on their hills, combat base and airfield at Khe Sanh. Our battalion, 1-9, arrived on January 22nd, late in the afternoon. We were set up around the airstrip. On January 23rd, we were moved to a hill 1 mile from the base called the Rock Quarry. I was at Khe Sanh 68 days during the 77-day siege. We were hit every day by rockets, 82 Russian mortars and heavy artillery. At nights, NVA troops would attack. So many casualties every day. Corporal John Fletcher was assigned to this unit, and later, Anthony William Hanley, Corporal. I will never forget the night the Green Beret, only 7 miles from our location at Lang Vai, yelled over the radio, tanks inside their compound and NVA troops. They needed help. We wanted to go to them, but given a no, possible ambush. It was hard sitting there, not being able to help them. The worst day for our battalion and me was a hill that was named Hill 64, was overrun on February the 8th. 27 died that morning. One great leader, Lieutenant Terrence Roach, my good friend, Anthony William Hanley, H&S field casualty and a radio man. And a field medic died that morning. I believe 29 wounded I handled. Losing my friend, Corporal Bill Hanley, that morning, I have never forgotten you. I carried a small Kodak camera with me everywhere. I have many photos of airstrikes and C-130s dropping supplies to us at Khe Sanh. There is one Marine on this wall I do not know your name, but I often think of you. One day, Corporal Fletcher and I were loading wounded on helicopters. A lot of incoming was hitting all around us. We missed getting a set of dog tags. I received word of a missing Marine. They sent me to Quezon Med. He was not there. They put me on a helicopter and flew me to Fubai Med Center. He was not there. A C-130 headed to Da Nang. I caught a ride. In Da Nang at Gray's registration, I found this 19-year-old Marine. They were loading up those died in body bags to be sent home. Opened the body bag. He had been hit by just one little piece of shrapnel. They handed me a set of dog tags and a wallet. I boarded a C-130 for Quezon. In the field, you never have time to look in their wallet. You just give it to their company commander. On the way, I opened his wallet. There, a picture of his wife holding two little children. One maybe two, the other was a baby. It brought me to tears. I often think of that day, Gray's registration. I often came in contact with them. What a special group of men. Every day of the war, those that died are brought to them to be cleaned up, placed in body bags. What they saw and did, God bless them. Soon my time would be up, and I would leave for home. The Battle of Quezon would go on for 9 more days. Hundreds of wounded, many in my battalion, and many died at Quezon in my battalion. I have no idea how many the 26 Marines lost. No doubt, many more on their hills. Standing before the wall, I see names of those that did not come home, friends of mine. Corporal Anthony William Hanley, Hill 64, February 8, 1968, Marine. Corporal Luson Beasley, Rock Quarry, March 30th, 1968, Marine. Sergeant Mike Gordy. Mike was from Snow Hill, Maryland. He was a friend of mine. We drank quite a few beers in high school. I would visit Snow Hill. He died on his second tour. Lieutenant Hammerbeck, Marine, son of Colonel Hammerbeck. 53 years later, I would be in the Eastern Shore of Virginia. A man that owns a donut shop in a Nantucket told me about a monument in Parksley, Virginia, of a local Marine. It's located in the parking lot at the train station in honor of Marine Corporal Jerry Clark Burkhead. Died on February 8, 1968, on Hill 64, Quezon. When I walked up there, all 27 names are listed on this monument. I cried. A message from their company commander, Captain Radcliffe, retired Colonel Radcliffe, who led the charge that morning to rescue those 64 on that hill. What a leader and the most respected officer in our battalion. Special thanks to our B-52 bombers, our jets, gunships, artillery. You saved 6,000 of us at Quezon. Many of our Vietnam veterans have medical issues today from the war. What they saw from Agent Orange. I have to talk to our young sheriff, Matt Christofoli, about the war. His dad, PFC Matthew Alfonso Christofoli, served in Vietnam, 69 to 70, with the 101st Airborne. Returning from the war, he suffered from depression and other issues, and he died at 28 years old. Young Matt was 4 at the time. He never had much time with his dad. His mother and grandpops had to tell him about Dad serving and what he went through when returning home. In closing, I see my reflection in the dark, glossy surface of this wall. I'm reminded that it is my purpose to talk about my experiences, the things that happened in Vietnam, so that these men and women who lost their lives are never forgotten. For our Vietnam veterans that came home, whatever duty assignment you had, it played a very important role in this war and saved many lives. Welcome home. Job well done. God bless you. God bless America. God bless our Gold Star mothers. Semper Fi. And a special thank you to my family that has always been there for me. God bless you all.
It is my honor to introduce former Vietnam prisoner of war, U.S. Air Force Captain Ralph Galati, with a tribute to Vietnam War prisoners and MIA. Get the last name right? Last time you and I met was in March of '73.
Oh my God, we got to talk about that.
Here it is.
Good morning. Thanks to Marie Gilmore and the board for inviting me today, and for Rosalie Robinson for the introduction. Anybody here today on active duty in the Guard and Reserves, thank you for your service. For Gold Star families and for spouses and family members, thank you for your sacrifice. For our veterans, thank you for your service. For Vietnam veterans, welcome home. For those of you old enough to remember the 1960s, it was a really difficult time for veterans, especially those returning home from tours in Vietnam. We couldn't wear our uniforms in public. We couldn't put our veteran status on a job resume. We couldn't even join a veterans organization. In general, we were toxic, connected to a war and a government and a military that was held in contempt by the American public. Everybody was tired of this 10-year war. And so Vietnam veterans were not welcomed home. The Wall That Heals has this really unique significance that allows us to recall those really difficult times and remember the sacrifice that was made, and especially to honor those that gave their all for each of us. You've heard about the 58,000 names etched on the panels, but it's really more than just that. It's really the impact on families and neighborhoods. So bear with me for a couple of statistics. There are 3 sets of fathers and sons on the wall. There are 31 sets of brothers, which means 31 sets of parents losing 2 sons. Almost 40,000 of the names on the wall were less than 22 years old. Of these, 33,000 were only 18. 8,000 were less than 19. 12 of those on the wall were 17. 5 were 16, 1 was only 15. That's what the wall means to all of us. You heard earlier that 8 were women. 997 were killed on their first day in Vietnam. 1,448 were killed on their last day in Vietnam. I don't like to dwell on the numbers, but in this case, they're really significant and impactful because it tells us about who was on that wall. Real names, real heroes behind each number. And it's important for you to recognize how young all of these folks were. Something that's important to me also is that there are still over 1,500 young souls still missing in action. Their families still waiting for a final accounting. I was one of the lucky ones, lucky to have survived and fortunate to be with you today. I was one of 591 prisoners of war repatriated from Hanoi prison camps in 1973. And we were fortunate in that we were actually welcomed home by a public that just needed something to feel good about, something that could represent the end of the war. Earlier, you saw the POW MIA flag that was created in 1970. Amazing to me that 50 years later, it still stands as a testament that we have not forgotten. And I am most appreciative of that. In my speeches, I try my best to represent Vietnam veterans in a proud way. In our most difficult days in Hanoi, as a prisoner of war, when the sufferings or the beatings or the starvation or the injuries were at their worst, we only had to remember our comrades in arms, many of them here today. Those that died on the wall behind me, those that were injured and suffering, those still in the fight. And we thought, what a disservice, what a disgrace it would be for us as POWs not to continue our fight of resistance when they had all given so much in their battles in service to our country. To honor these veterans, I ask that you remember one quote. For those that fought for it, freedom has a flavor the protected will never know. And so this wall, unique as it is a really solemn reminder, a piece of history since 1982. Imagine what we have here, a living memorial coming to us, allowing us to share in an ugly time by fondly remembering America's finest. They fought almost 9,000 miles away in a country nobody had ever heard of, and nobody was really sure why. And yet today, almost 50 years from the end of that war, we still remember and pay sacrifice. If I can paraphrase President Ronald Reagan, some people live their whole lives wondering if they made a difference. Our military never has that problem. Thank you for joining us here today, and thank you for never forgetting.
Captain, do you want to? Now I'd like to introduce from Quilts of Valor, Dana Mason and Marguerite Niemiller.
My name is Dana Mason. Marguerite and I are the Delaware State Coordinators for the Quilts of Valor Foundation. Thank you all for attending today. This is always a tough thing to do. It's getting tougher the longer I sit here and hear the stories. But in 2003, Catherine Roberts, who was a Seaford, Delaware resident, a Blue Star mom, made a quilt for her son, who was deployed in Iraq. This was the beginning of Quilts of Valor Foundation. By 2006, the requests for quilts for service members had grown so great that we became a nonprofit organization and formalized our mission to be to cover service members and veterans touched by war and comforting and healing Quilts of Valor. Quilts of Valor Foundation has volunteers in all 50 states, as well as Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and Korea. In the United States, we have awarded over 250,000 quilts to service members and veterans. Marguerite and I are always grateful for an opportunity to award Quilts of Valor at the Wall That Heals. We want to thank the Worcester County Veterans Memorial Foundation for including us in this ceremony and the event. There are 5 important words on the label of the Quilts of Valors and the certificates that we present in our ceremonies. First and most importantly is thanks. So many veterans returning from Vietnam did not receive thanks or words of appreciation. The quilts we are awarding today are civilian awards presented to our recipients by Marguerite and I on behalf of our foundation, their families, their friends, the community, and the volunteers that create the quilts as tangible expressions of our gratitude for their service. The second important word is honor. Their quilts honor their service and sacrifice. It shows that we hold what they did in the highest regard. To comfort and heal. The mission of the Quilts of Valor Foundation. The quilt has always been associated with comfort, the family heirloom that perhaps you slept under at your grandparents' home, that was passed on to another generation, and maybe as it aged, it became a beach blanket. But whatever its use and its age, it had warm and comforting memories attached to it. Our volunteers have heard from countless recipients about how the quilt helped heal their wounds, the visible and the invisible. It was a comfort to them on good days, as well as the days and nights that were a struggle to get through. Sacrifice. It's the reason we have gathered here today. Why many will walk this wall over the next 4 days. Our quilts are awarded to living service members and veterans to honor their service, their dedication, and their sacrifice. The wall honors the service and ultimate sacrifice of Vietnam soldiers, sailors, Marines, and airmen. We honor today 2 Vietnam veterans, Nelson Kelly and Reggie Mason. And if you would both join us up front at this time. Both of their quilts were made by the members of the Independence Community Quilting Bee in Millsboro, Delaware. Symbolic of the comforting nature of quilts, we wrap each recipient in their quilt. Reggie, I do hope that that quilt is always a comfort to you. Nelson, I don't know what to say to you other than, please, thank you for all that you have done and for keeping alive the story, because by keeping the story alive, we continue to keep those that we lost alive. The inscription on the certificate they each will receive says, Nelson and Reggie, the Quilts of Valor Foundation wishes to recognize you for your service to our nation. We consider it a privilege to honor you. Though we may never know the extent of your service and sacrifice to protect and defend the United States of America and your comrades in arms. As an expression of gratitude, we award you this quilt of valor. We welcome you home, and we thank you for your service. In pre-COVID days, Marguerite and I would also get the privilege of hugging our recipients. Marguerite still does it, and Reggie, wife, will do his honors. Thank you so much.
We'll now have a reading from U.S. Marine Corps Sergeant Frank Boland and his poem titled, All I Did Was Fight a War.
It's kind of hard being here today. This is my wall. This is your wall. A number of years ago, on Memorial Day, I came to this memorial over here. And I sat and I listened. What a beautiful place. They tell me this memorial was built for me to honor all veterans. All I ever did was fight a war. I looked around and I saw a lot of flags flying, high and proud. The brick walls and pavers with all the names. Some of my friends are there with a star next to their names, which means they never made it home. They tell me all this is for me. All I did was fight a war. As I sat in the fourth row and I looked up, I saw myself in 20 years. There were 8 former POWs from World War II. I thought to myself, I wonder how they made it and really what they had to do. I couldn't imagine their past. All I had to do was fight a war. I looked over to my left in the front row, and there were 4 Gold Star mothers. I thought about their lives and what they had lived with losing a husband, a son, or a daughter. How hard every day it must be for them. All I had to do was fight a war. No one asked to go to war, and no one comes back the same. I often wonder who I would be if I never went to war. I wonder how those 4 Gold Star mothers' lives would be different. I wonder how many sleepless nights those POWs had had. I wonder why so many people make a big deal out of us non-vets. All we did was fight a war. I went home that day and I sat there and I wrote this. Because all I had to do was fight a war. I didn't have to sacrifice like the other people did. Like my brothers and sisters behind me. Some of the stories, like Reggie, my friend. Like all you Vietnam veterans out there. God bless you and thank you. Welcome home.
And now, America the Beautiful by Liz Boland.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty, above the fruited plains. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for patriots' dreams that sees beyond the years, thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea.
Please remain standing. Please stand as Sarge offers the benediction, and remain standing for taps performed today by Vietnam veteran, U.S. Marine Corps retired Master Sergeant Frank Del Piano.
Uncover. The names on the wall and their families will never be forgotten. Those who are still unaccountable for, the POW, the MIAs, and our defenders of our country will never be forgotten. All of those in attendance here for this week event will, without a doubt, never be forgotten also. Amen.
Please be seated. Thank you all for joining us today, and join us again Friday at 7 p.m. for a candlelight ceremony. And let us not forget to our Vietnam veterans, your service and sacrifice will never be forgotten. And welcome home. Thank you.